Today, we're going to be trying out what could very well be the most difficult event in all of Bloons Monkey City, with that being the Monkeys from Space event. And you'll notice that several of my buildings have these UFOs trying to abduct them, which actually prevents you from using the monkey that's inside the building until you have freed it from the UFO. And this can be done by finding and clicking on 5 of these monkey aliens that are trying to blend in as normal monkey citizens, but obviously they're far off the normal path. And once you have done so, all of these UFOs actually turn yellow, and now you can attempt to defeat one of them. And I think I'll also try to free my super monkey over here first. Now, I really want to give a huge shout out to Plant Terror for actually letting me know that this event was going on, because it only happens a couple of times a year. And I haven't even played Bloons Monkey City in several months, but I definitely remember the Dartling Gunner being insanely strong in this game, even more so than it is in BTD5, so I'll start with getting a 2-1 down here. Then I also got a 2-1 Glue Gunner as soon as I could, and had it targeted to strong, because in Bloons Monkey City, the Glue Gunner is actually quite good. In fact, I even got down a second one, which was quite useful in catching all the lead balloons on round 3. Beyond that, round 4 also slipped in a random ceramic balloon, which got caught by our glue as well, and thus was a whole lot easier to pop with the Dartling Gunners. So honestly, I really think that these two towers have some of the best synergy out of any in Bloons Monkey City, especially when it comes to the early game. Although on round 6, there were quite a few lead balloons, so I upgraded one of my glue gunners into a glue splatter so that I could catch all of them, but unfortunately, I was a bit late, which did allow a few regrow leads to get by it. So then I got the depleted plutonium upgrade on my first Dartling Gunner, which will be good anyways, in case the game sends us any camo leads. And also, look at just how helpful the corrosive glue gunners are at making sure these rainbow and ceramic balloons didn't overwhelm our defenses, as I had to deal with everything at the front. And on round 7, things also went pretty well. But then, round 8 threw some camo ceramics our way, which of course the glue gunners couldn't slow down for us, along with our first Moab balloons as well. I was a little bit worried because the Moabs were getting quite far as I spent time dealing with all the ceramic balloons, so I got another glue splatter further down the track to catch the ceramics once the Moabs were popped, but I made the mistake of not getting the glue soak on it immediately, so we did leak some lives, but overall, it could have been worse, I'd say, cause, well, we still survived. But then on round 9, some regrow ceramics were taking a while to defeat, which allowed these two Moabs to get even further than the last had, and honestly, I was surprised that I even survived at all here. So I decided it was time to see how powerful the Hydra rocket pod glitch is in this game, where you build a 0-1 monkey village, and then get the rockets upgrade on a Dartling Gunner within the range of that village, and you can see that this was absolutely destroying all the regular balloons that the game was sending our way now, which is good because round 10 not only had a few modes at the end, but a BFB as well. And I really think that the lower tier Dartling Gunners are doing a good job of dealing a lot of damage to it, while the rockets absolutely tear through the resulting ceramics. And thus, going forward, the next several rounds were quite easy, as I continued upgrading more of my Dartling Gunners, but I also figured I should get down a 2-4 Ninja Monkey for its balloon sabotage ability as well, because I'm pretty certain that a ZOMG is about to be headed our way. And sure enough, here it is on the last round. So I used the sabotage to slow it down, which honestly didn't last very long, and these Dartling Gunners are definitely having a tougher time with it, so I got an absolute 0 ice monkey to slow it down once again, and after that, our defense really didn't have too much trouble taking it down. And it's also really nice how you don't have to wait for new aliens to invade your city, because I only have a couple of days left to actually complete this event. And I figured if my strategy worked the first time, I might as well try it again. So I went forward with my Dartling Gunner and Glue Gunner army, this time also getting a 0-1 village down earlier to give all of our 1-0 Dartling Gunners extra pierce. Then I got ready to upgrade one of my Dartling Gunners into a Hydra rocket pods, which could not have come at a better time here, as I was just getting swamped by all the ceramics on round 8. And this defense was enough to get us through the next several rounds, but I also was thinking that it makes more sense to focus on mainly getting 2-1 Dartling Gunners for their higher damage per second against Moab class balloons, at least in relation to how much they cost, because 1 or 2 Hydra rocket pods under the village is already enough to handle everything else. And I also got down a Bloons Sabotage Ninja just a bit too late to slow down the first ZOMG on round 14, but that didn't really matter as our Dartling Gunner army tore through it regardless. And then I also got an absolute 0 ice monkey and used both of the slowdown abilities together at the end of round 15, allowing me to beat this tile without losing any lives at all. And the third map had a pretty interesting layout for us, with there actually being a long path right at the entrance that's really perfect for our Dartling Gunner. although it will be harder for the glue gunners to catch balloons on it. But I really don't want to bore you guys with the exact details of every single game, so I'll just mention that we didn't have trouble with the first 2 mobs on round 9, but round 10 sent a ton of them our way, and honestly, I really expected to lose here with how things were going. But thanks to all the Pierce that our Dartling Gunners have, they were able to deal enough damage to everything for us to only lose about 40 lives instead, at which point I got my first Hydra Rocket Pod, making the rest of the game go by without any issues at all. So it really is quite important to get that Hydra Rocket Pod down as early as possible, it seems. And this same strategy really was working out quite well for me. I would run into some issues here and there, like a bunch of lead balloons coming out unexpectedly early, but I could always slow down the game and then respond in time without actually losing. And after I'd beaten this tile, and then went on to beat another, Bloons Monkey City actually gave me something that I've never gotten before, which is a wildcard monkey knowledge pack. You can see that I have hundreds of the regular packs that I haven't opened, and even 10 of the ancient packs as well, but this is the first time that I've ever had a wildcard pack in my inventory. But I also was about to run into my first real challenge during this event as well, and that's because different tiles in this game will ban different towers, which includes whatever tiles the UFOs are currently holding, with this one that's abducting the glue gunner, ironically, banning that tower as well. And thus, a key component in my strategy was all of a sudden missing. Now thankfully, this map is pretty perfect for the Dartling Gunner, but I had to buy the depleted Balloon-tonium in order to deal with lead balloons instead of being able to use the glue gunner, and I was also struggling to think of a good stall to replace our glue gunners as well. I ended up settling on the idea of going for the Flash Bomb Ninja, which is definitely more expensive than getting a couple 2-1 glue gunners would be, but I was able to afford it. However, as you can see, this stun is simply nowhere near good enough to actually help us out all that much with the balloons. So I tried getting a couple of ice monkeys, since they should slow the balloons down even after they thaw out, but this also didn't seem to help nearly as much as what I had hoped for. So yeah, you can really see just how valuable that the glue gunner actually is in Bloons Monkey City. And now I really had to consider my options here, but ultimately decided on getting a bomb tower, with the idea being to try and save up for the balloon impact upgrade that will allow the cluster bombs to actually stun balloons after hitting them. The only other thing I can think of beyond this is trying an Arctic Wind Ice Monkey if we'd be able to afford that, but it'd be even more expensive. Now thankfully, I had enough money to get the balloon impact upgrade before things got too tough, and you can see just how much it's actually really helping us here on round 7. Now I honestly played pretty badly myself on round 8, but even still, we were able to survive all the ceramic balloons that the game was throwing our way, and I was also pretty worried about all these regrow rainbow balloons on round 9, but barely anything actually ended up slipping past our defenses. And after that, it was just a matter of playing the same way that I normally would, minus the glue gunners of course, in order to ultimately recapture this building back from the alien monkeys as well. And I thought it would be quite easy to recapture this building over here, given that it was literally the same map and glue gunner restrictions as well. However, the actual challenge is quite different, with the game throwing a ton of camo balloons our way, which of course the bomb tower really couldn't help with. So I tried it with only Dartling Gunners, which also got overran by round 8, and I knew I wasn't playing super well, so I figured for now I'd move on to some other tiles and come back to this one later, which could be dangerous, but hopefully I don't get stuck on it. Now, this was actually going pretty well for me, that being playing the new tiles, with me managing to use the old glue gunner Dartling Gunner combo to recapture a few more buildings before it actually started backfiring on me when I managed to create a regrow farm on this particular map with around 6 regrow rainbow balloons. And after losing here pretty brutally, I tried a couple more times without success, but after a little bit, I was able to make sure that the balloons didn't really get a chance to regrow, making them quite easy to actually tear through now. And after that, there weren't any more major challenges on this particular tile to stand between myself and victory. And you can see I also got one of the 2 unique decorations from this event, which is the crashed UFO, that you can actually go and place on one of your tiles in your city, and it's honestly really cool. I already had one of them before because I've completed this event one time in the past, but still, definitely really awesome in my opinion that they give out exclusive things like that. It makes the event so much more worth doing than they would be otherwise. Now, I went on and captured another tile that really wasn't all that difficult, especially considering I had no towers restricted at all. But after that, it was about time I took on a tile that would be much more of a challenge, because it actually prevents me from using the Dartling Gunner. And obviously that's a tower I've been extremely heavily relying on, so I knew this was going to be tough. But I remember the 2-3 triple dart monkey being quite powerful in the early game, so I got a couple of those along with the trusty glue gunner, and figured it would also make sense to get engineer monkeys with the sentry turrets as well. And this was a cheap yet effective defense for the early rounds, with me also getting a balloon shipper down. However, on round 8, the game surprised me by sending the first camo leads and Moabs at the same time, so I got down a 2-2 wizard along with building more defense, but I really messed up trying to get this one triple dart at the end of the track, and yet somehow I actually still survived here. However, on round 9, I could not say the same. So on my second try, I was much better prepared for round 8 now, and didn't end up losing any lives there, along with on round 9 as well. Then I was able to afford the super wide funnel upgrade on my balloon shipper that allows it to catch Moab class balloons, which made the remaining few rounds pretty easy for us to get through. And now I figured it was time to come back to the camo balloon tile that I had skipped earlier, and my idea was to try immediately getting a monkey village with my Dartling Gunner this time, and that way I could get a 10% discount on all of my defense moving forward. But honestly, I wasn't prepared for just how good that the Monkey Fort upgrade is, even on Dartling Gunners that don't have the Hydra Rocket Pod, as I figured it would be worth getting that in order to give all of our Dartling Gunners one extra pierce, which really allowed them to do a much better job of handling everything here on round 8. And then right after that, I was able to afford the Hydra Rocket Pod upgrade as well, which ensured that the rest of the game was quite easy for us to get through. And now we only have 3 buildings left in total to actually recapture, with the first one being super easy. However, the second one does specifically restrict us from using the monkey village, and at first, things were going pretty well, but I ended up getting swarmed by a ton of balloons on round 7, which did take me out. And normally I would probably consider getting, well, a monkey fort village early again, but obviously that option is off the table now, so I actually tried using the dart monkeys and engineers that had worked out when the Dartling Gunners were banned just to see, but they could not keep up with everything either. So then, I figured the best thing I could try is putting my Dartling Gunners in different positions on the map, so this way they won't get so pierce capped, and that actually worked out, allowing me to pass round 7 for the first time. And my glue gunners did a really good job of helping to ensure that I could survive round 8 and all of its ceramics as well, but I got a little too cocky with my use of fast forward and ended up losing to camo regrowth ceramics on round 9. And after a couple more tries, I was still having trouble getting past this round, so I figured it would make sense to try selling off a few Dartling Gunners in order to get a Hydra Rocket Pod before that round began, which should still be quite helpful even without the glitch from the village. And sure enough, this allowed me to get through round 9 now, and beyond that, I ended up beating the entire map on this attempt as well. And now, we only have one tile left, which separates us from certain victory. And this one actually has the Dartling Gunner band, so I figured it would make sense to go back to the triple dart monkey and sentry engineers again, which was definitely going well during the early rounds. And I preemptively built up a 1-2 wizard monkey in anticipation of camo leads coming soon, along with me also getting a couple Moab maulers in order to get some cheap damage against the Moab class balloons as well. However, on round 11, things got pretty intense, and I tried buying the Phoenix upgrade on my wizard, but this was just barely enough not to save us. So on my next attempt, I figured it would make sense to try getting a ninja monkey, which to be fair, is not as good as the dart monkey or engineers in the super early game, causing me to lose 40 lives on just round 5 this time. However, the value of the ninja monkey really starts to come out once you can get the flash bomb upgrade on a map like this, where it has the chance to pierce through balloons on multiple lanes at once. And beyond that, the plan was to then upgrade the ninja into a balloon sabotage. And now that I had it, I continued building up the cheaper parts of our defense in order to ensure it could survive the Moabs and everything else that the game was throwing at our way, along with getting an absolute zero ice monkey as well. Then, I upgraded one of our dart monkeys into a super monkey fan club for the first time when things were getting pretty intense once again, and this ultimately worked out quite well, allowing me to defeat the final UFO that had invaded our monkey city, and thus earn my second ever astronaut monkey statue decoration as a prize as well. And if you guys want to see more Bloons Monkey City content, please let me know in the comment section below, because I really am interested in this game and definitely would be happy to provide more of it.